Have you ever thought of fly fishing for pike? Well, Mick and I have. Join us today and find out what happens. Oh, and don't forget our experts. We've got Alex Bones on pleasure, we've got Neil Bryant on sea fishing, and Carpman Pete Castle's here as well. Welcome to Total Fishing. Well, thank heavens for that.
Well, here we are, Matt. Chew Reservoir.
Yes, it's looking a bit black the back of Bill's mother's, though.
Yeah, but look at that bright sky over there.
Yeah, it's in a beautiful spot, actually, this place.
Yeah, well, where we're going to fish, it's a lot calmer up there. We're out of the wind. And that's where I think the pike will be. That's the shallower water up that top end.
Well, as you've probably gathered, we're here at a reservoir, and let me tell you, it's been an incredibly eventful journey in this thing. I mean, you probably saw that from the way we just came down the hill. It's a real treat for us. We've come fly fishing for pike. We've got all the stuff to do the job, and with any luck, we'll catch some nice fish.
Right, so Matthew. Right, what's that lap doesn't fall out forward? Got it. I bought my camera today, Matt. I've got a feeling. Take me to the fishing, Matthew.
My pleasure, the Jew.
See the green field with the pylon?
OK.
If you head to that.
I'll go round it. Well, we've been fishing for about an hour to an hour and a half, I suppose. And this is our second drift of the day. And Mick's got one on, so great stuff.
Net on it, or...?
Yeah, I'm going to get out this huge table tennis bat. But inside, cunningly disguised, is a landing net. Woohoo!
I don't think it knows it's hooked yet.
It's a nice fish, Mick. I've just seen it, actually.
I think
it's a good double.
Good double, yeah.
Yeah, lovely pike, Mick. Nice start, that is, son. Yes, well done, my boy.
Yeah, lovely. Well, thanks, mate. Well, that was in the boat, probably within, what, a minute and a half? And the reason being, I'm using heavy tackle.
That's a beautiful-looking pike,
yeah.
too.
Oh, there she is. Really big, fat pike. Look at that. Absolute beauty.
One of the flies as well.
Absolutely swallowed the fly. Right, well, there's one of my home tide specials, and there's something special about that fly, which I'll show you in a minute. Let's get her straight back over the side.
Lovely pike, that is.
Yeah, lovely.
Beautiful markings, isn't it?
Wow.
Good soaking as well.
It's a powerful
well done,
fish.
Son. That's a great start.
Yes! I love it. Shall I show you something about this fly, Matt? Whether it's made any difference, I don't know. But first cast with this one, and it's one. I've built a little rattle into this. And you can...
Oh, just about hear it.
You can barely hear it, but, you know, maybe the fish can hear it. Whether it worked because of that, I don't know, but it's interesting. It was the first cast.
Yeah, it's got a head like a foot, hasn't it?
It has, hasn't it? So I'm quite pleased with that.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
We're off the mark,
Yeah, brilliant. So, while Mick plays around with his dubious rattle, remember that Total Fishing is full of useful tips, and this one's brought to you by sea fishing expert Neil Bryant.
Today, I want to show you my two-down dog rig. I start at one end with a barrel swivel of about 50 pounds. Running down from there, I have a short snood length with a few beads attached, clipped onto the main trace line. Running on through to the business end, where I've actually upped my beads and also added in some yellow fluorescent beads. The loomy beads do shine brightly. Makes the fish very inquisitive. My preferred bait is mackerel. I just take it once through the light flesh and run it through. And on this second hook on the snood length, I'm attaching a bit of mackerel, and I'm going to introduce a little bit of squid and just keep it very, very simple. And then running through, I'll attach that to a running boom. And the running boom allows the bait to be pulled through from the lead so the dogfish don't feel the lead when they're taking the bait. And that is then linked up to my main line, the fast link, and another £100 swivel. And there you have it. My two-down doggy rig works really well for me. I hope it does for you.
Here's a fish, Mick.
Told you you'd get one.
It's a very slow, dragging sort of bite, that one. Almost as if I'd caught the bottom.
No, you haven't seen it yet.
I have seen it. It's not a big one, but it's a welcome one. You know, I was fishing away there, and my confidence was just draining. And then all of a sudden, it felt as if I dragged the bottom. Then everything tightened up. That's it. Woo! That was brilliant.
There's that.
Absolutely brilliant.
Do you want to reach across and pick her up?
I'll pick her out,
Okay.
yeah. I'll lift her gently, because I don't like lifting them too suddenly. There you go. It's not a bad fish after all, is it?
Nice double.
Nicely nailed right in the front of the jaw. Look at that.
That came out easy, didn't it?
It's just dropped out.
Yep.
Absolutely no damage to the fish whatsoever. In prime condition. You know, treble hooks often sort of get really caught up in the pike's mouth, but a single is always so much easier to remove. And the beauty of it is, you can just lower the fish over the edge. Nice job. And there she goes.
Collision course.
We've been fishing for about half a day, and we don't really know this water. We're pretty confident with the methods that we're using. We're making long drifts out of this bay here, and most of the fish appear to be in sort of 5 to 8 feet of water, so I feel that as our knowledge progresses, hopefully we'll catch more fish. But we've made a great start. We've had 2 pike, which can't be bad on your first day out on the water. Nice fish as well, and they've swum off a tree.
Yep, let's get another one. Come on.
Start, mate.
Yep. What colour fly was that?
But it's one I made in my secret laboratory.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of perch in this lake.
Just had a really big pike come up for that, and he missed it. It was a big fish as well. I reckon it was 20 pounds. Big fish.
Oh, that's tremendous muscles when I'm finished. It's better than a workout at the gym, this is.
Well, we've had a pretty good session out here in this bay. We've had a couple of fish. Had a really, really big fish follow right up to the boat, lunged at my fly and missed it, literally nicked by about an inch. I was gutted, but that's encouraging. We're doing OK. Maybe we should try a bay just over to our left over there and try a new drift, I think.
I've got so many aches and pains.
And I have. I'll cut the engine, shall I, Sir Michael? Oh, I just had one blast up in it then, you see it?
Did you see it?
Yeah.
The 2 you've missed, they came roaring in fast, didn't they?
It's typical on my luck at the moment, Mick, that these fish are just roaring up at the last minute and missing the fly. I don't know about you, but I've found that sometimes in fishing, the smallest things can turn your luck.
Yeah.
And I'm in one of those phases, I don't know whether you get this, but I'm in one of those phases at the moment where I seem to be fishing great,
Yeah.
but things are just not quite dropping my way, you know what I mean?
I think we all do, really. I think most of the time you tend to fish to probably your average ability. Then you get blinding runs where it's just brilliant, you can't do a thing wrong, but there's the other side of the coin as well. You pay for it, as you are now, for all the good days you've had.
Yeah.
And you can't get a thing right. But you'll come out of it eventually.
Yeah, I know I will, and I'll go on a blinding run
Yeah,
then, but I just
yeah.
wish it'd start sooner rather than later.
Yeah. But when you are on a roll, you do tend to recognise it, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And I always think, I'll milk this while I can.
Yeah.
Because it never lasts that long, does it?
No, it doesn't, unfortunately. I think you should show everybody just what you're throwing at the moment.
Well, I admit it is a bit unconventional. It is rather a large fly. It's probably about 14 inches long. Very difficult to cast, but I've actually caught 3 20-pounders with that fly. I mean, look at that. When it does look like either a bird or a very big prey fish, doesn't it?
Yeah?
This one I've tied up in rainbow trout colours.
Hey, look at that, Mick. There's a pike following it with a white stick.
No.
Sort my line out. Doesn't feel like... Look at this. It's the tiniest pike in Chew. Oh, look at that. What a catch.
I'll tell you
And
what,
he's tail walking.
My fly's as big as that pike. Oh, man.
Well done, Sir Michael.
Well, I was getting a little bit despondent and bang.
Yes, I've got one, Mick. There he is. Cheeky little chap, just like Brownie. Oh, big fish. Just turned on it. Well, at the moment, Mick, I just can't keep him on the hook.
Just can't wait for another bite. Fish on.
I don't think it's a pike. Oh, it is. This is ridiculous. I'm sure it's the same one from earlier on. You won't believe my luck here, Mick, because I've just had an absolute ramrod of a bite.
I can see what it is.
And I thought I'd looked at pike, but it's a blooming rainbow trout. That's definitely got to be the last action of the day, because
It's not your day, is it?
I've had a very, very strange day, let me tell you. I've caught some pike. I've missed two absolute giants, which just swirled under the boat, and caught some very small pike, which is unusual in itself. Let me just see if I can unhook this fish in the water. There it is, the hook's out. Lively as you like, this thing. He's gone.
What a day.
Never to be repeated, Sir Michael.
I haven't laughed so much for ages. We'll have to do it again tomorrow.
Let's stay with predator fishing. Here's another tip, and this time there's not a washing up bowl in sight.
Here's a nice easy tip for you for when you want to fish dead baits over weed or silty bottoms, and you don't want that bait to be lying in the weed where the pike can't see it. Simply take one of these poly balls or pop-up foam balls, thread it onto a piece of trace wire, thread it through the fish's mouth or through the gill, bring it back out through the flank. You can use a baiting needle to do this. Simply clip the clip to the treble hook, and then once you've cast it out, it'll then pop up, and you get one of those sight-feeding pike will come across it. Bob's your uncle. There's its dinner.
Well, here I am, day 2 at Chew. It's an absolutely beautiful morning. The boats are just being prepared to go out now. Mick's actually loading our boat, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to catch up with John Horsey. John's the resident guide here at Chew. He's been pike fly fishing for some time. First of all, how is the fly fishing going for pike at the moment?
It's been brilliant. You've hit it at the right time. We've had plenty of pike over the last few days. There's a few areas of the lake that are absolutely key. Heriots and Stratford is the main area, with Moreton fairly good, but down at Heron's Green, it's good down through there, and Villis Bay also is good.
So these are all bays, John?
All bays, yeah. They start off probably 3 foot deep and get to about 8 or 9 foot. But one of the main things to remember is these pike aren't worried about ambushing small fish like they are in a river. There's a lot of trout go in this lake, and they're quite happy to just lay fallow somewhere for a while, then nip off, get something to eat and go back and digest it. So keep away from the reeds, keep well out from the reeds and all the structure, and keep out in the open water.
So what about kit, John? I'm talking really here about flies and fly lines, that sort of thing.
I tend to use 9 weights. A 9 weight rod, 9 foot for a 9 weight is absolutely adequate for all the flies. And that's the main difference really with the trout fishing and the pike fishing is these things. They're like little gremlins, really. Most of these are tied with EP fibres. The great thing about that is that when you lift them off the water, they shed the water, so they're not heavy anymore. And I was out with some guys yesterday who had a fantastic bag of pike. The fly that did all the damage was this one.
That small one? That
small one. And it just worked for everybody. And we caught all our pike. And one guy caught over 100 pound of pike yesterday on one of these. So there's none in the shop anymore. So it come at a price.
Now, if you want to come fly fishing for the day for pike at Chew, what do you do, John?
Well, if they're experienced anglers, the main thing is don't bring your normal trout tackle, because 9'6", 10-foot rods are a little bit too long. You can use your normal reels, but you do need pretty good line capacity on them, and they need to be able to hold a full 9-weight line. And then get yourself a decent supply of flies. If you're an experienced angler, just go out, ask the lodge. If you ring here, the lodge staff are very knowledgeable. They'll tell you where to go. Or if you need somebody with you, someone like myself can take you out for the day.
Well, judging by your track record, you've done very well, because I think yesterday you went out with some clients. How many 20s did your clients have?
Well, in the 3 days, they had 6 20s, and the biggest was £29.4. But they caught £350 of pike in 3 days.
Well, I'll tell you what, John, you're not making me feel any better, because I thought I'd done quite well yesterday. But I think I better have a word with myself and get out there and try and catch some fish now based on that. But thanks for the info, it's been brilliant. Where are we going then?
You see where the hut is on the causeway?
Yeah.
If we start drogging from there and head down to the corner, about 80 yards off the dam.
You know what? I think this might be a perch, Mick.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure this is a pike, but it could be a perch. or it could be the smallest pike in the world. Look at that.
Well, we are having a day, aren't we?
Well, we've had quite an interesting day, actually. We came out here really full of optimism because we felt that after yesterday we'd learnt where the fish were hanging out, we'd got a couple of fly patterns that were working, and we were really excited about today. We thought we were going to have some really good fish. And to be honest, the fishing's been really slow. None of the pike boats have had any fish. And I'm really regretting now what happened yesterday when I had 2 huge fish come up by the boat. But I was sure we'd put it right today. The fishing's... It's amazing that the pike have just switched off completely. 2 more different days you couldn't imagine in terms of the fish's attitude and reaction. Beautiful weather, seemingly perfect conditions, not a carrot. From pike to carp, Total Fishing covers all aspects of the sport, and here's a tip from our resident carp expert, Pete Castle.
Right, when you're setting your rods, it's important to leave a little bit of slack line. If you don't, if you just drag the rod back, you can pick up things like weed and leaves and stuff like that, which obviously covers the hook. So what I tend to do is put the rod down and then put the indicator on and let that take up the tension, and just keep winding the reel up until that picks up all of the slack line, pop it into the run clip. What I've actually done with this indicator is left a couple of inches there so that as the fish pulls the rig forward and it's got the bait in its mouth, it just gives you a couple of bleeps. And also it's high enough so if the fish runs back towards you, that it can come back. And what I would do if I was fishing up against snags or something like that is have the indicator even tighter. What you don't want to happen is when the fish picks up that rod when you're snag fishing is to strip loads and loads of line off the reel there. So basically I'd just be fishing for 1 bleep then. As soon as that bleeps up, then I'd hit the rod. And then the rod's set.
As you can probably see, we've moved location now. We're in, what's this bay called, Mick?
Phyllis, I think.
Villis Bay,
Yeah.
which is a nice quiet bay. It's quite sheltered in here. We haven't seen anything yet. We've worked one edge over on the left-hand side. Now we're trying the right. We're just resting the area where we caught all the fish yesterday because it's just literally died in there, the fishing. We think the fish are still there, but for whatever reason, they're not taking. Anyway, we're going to try this bay, rest the other one for about an hour, and then go back over there for the evening. We're really only looking for 1 fish now, just to crown off what's been some really good fishing. So, fingers crossed, maximum concentration.
Ooh, yeah, mate. I think it's a small pike, actually, this time.
I think it is a small pike. I've just seen it.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Maybe it was a wise thing to move away from where the pressure had been. That one's really took it in, mate. Oh, this one's not finished yet.
Well, at least that things are hotting up a bit, because we've gone several hours with nothing, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know whether it's a coincidence, Matt, but this is the fly with the rattling again.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Mick's finally proved his point with his rattlefly, and there's more to come. But first, here's Alex Bones, our coarse fishing expert, with another great tip to improve your angling.
Now, one tip I've learned is that when you're fishing for big fish, you often need to unclip the line. They race off at 100 mile an hour, and they often end up breaking your hook length if you don't unclip. So how do you know where to clip back up at the right place? Well, the tip I use is to tie a small stop knot of black mono line and tuck it behind the line clip. To do this, you just need to take a foot or so of black mono and literally unclip your line where it is and tie a 4-turn stop knot onto your line. As you're doing this, make sure you keep it nice and loose and make sure you lubricate it to prevent damaging your main line on your reel. So you clip it behind your reel spool and trim off the tag ends. And that's it.
Yes.
Yes.
Did have a pluck, didn't I?
Yeah. Well done, mate. All right, Mick.
Yeah, it's only a little one, but it's going like fury. I had a bite and then missed it, and it came for it again.
Nice looking
There we
fish,
are.
mate. Look at that in the light. That's beautiful, isn't it?
Look at the colours in that, Matt. There's all little bits of purple and
Beautiful.
turquoise. Beautiful.
That was quite a small fly, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've just changed to a small one that looks a bit like a roach fry. It's done the job okay. Start to enjoy it once you get a bite, don't you?
Yeah.
But when you don't,
Gives
it's
you a bit of encouragement.
quite soul-destroying when you're not getting bites, isn't it? Tell you what, this bit of sunshine might have made the difference.
Might just bring them on, yeah.
Yeah,
We've waited all day for it.
yeah. Wow, look at it going as well.
Just came up out of nowhere,
It
didn't
was brilliant, that was. Oh, making a bit of progress, I think.
I had a right whack then. I had a fish on. Came off.
I don't think I've had enough.
Say we've bitten off more than we can chew.
That's it. Bad enough.
Well, it's certainly been a testing day out on the water. I personally feel that I've acquitted myself very well. I hope you've enjoyed our adventure and, of course, all the wonderful fishing hints and tips that we've brought to you in another blockbuster programme. But for now, I must admit, all that casting's left me a little bit tired, and I think it's time to go home. Drive on, Sir Michael.